The views expressed and the opinions given by their guests do not necessarily reflect those of the Odyssey Files hosts, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
This is Susan Slaughter from Paranormal Caught on Camera, introducing you to the most epic show ever, The Odyssey Files with David Soyering and Michael O'Neill. You're welcome. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh!
Kim, what are you doing?
Well, I'm telling Mike and Dave, it's time to get on the show.
Oh, well, the Odyssey Files starts now.
Good evening, paranormal community. You are watching or listening to the Odyssey Files, and I'm your host, Michael O'Neill, and with me, who can't seem to get his lighting correct, is my co-host, Mr. David Soyering. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, Mike. Happy National Turtle Day, or World Turtle Day. I'm sorry.
World Turtle Day.
Yep, it's World Turtle Day today. So to all our listeners, happy World Turtle Day.
Is there a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Day?
I think that's part of today.
It
I think
should
it's
be.
all inclusive because it's for all turtles. I saw some people who didn't know what they were doing was only wanted to celebrate Sea Turtle Day. People, you're wrong. It's World Turtle Day. So that includes all the little guys that we break for every spring in Minnesota that we run out, like I do anyway, jump out of the car and run and grab them and put them over on the other side of the road where they were headed so they don't get run over. And like the Turtle Whisperer.
Yeah, that's it. As you were saying that's exactly what was coming to my mind.
Is that what it was? Because that's what I was
yeah.
thinking. That's what popped into my head.
No, not at all. But
I didn't think so.
I did. I almost did that actually the other day. As I saw, I just go around because I was like, "What's that in the road?" Thinking that maybe it was like a rock or something like that.
Yeah, a little painted turtle probably.
And as I got closer, I saw that was the turtle. I'm like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, I should have pulled over and helped him across the road.
Yep.
But yeah, you definitely need to. You know how they have those little bumper stickers? Start seeing motorcycles.
Yep.
I think you need to start seeing turtles.
There you go.
Because I guess raccoons and squirrels and cats, you can just hit those things like anytime, and that's okay. But you need to not do that to turtles.
Right.
In fact, I actually had a customer today try to tell me about how he hit this humongous raccoon this weekend. And it looked like, the way he told it to me, he said it looked like a fat child.
With a big fur coat on, maybe.
I guess. But yeah, he's like, he was trying to describe it to me. He's like, it was huge. It's like, it was like a child. It was like a child. It's like, yeah, fat child. And I'm like, and he's like, I tried to swerve to miss it, but it was too big. Okay. So
well, first, I've never heard a raccoon be described as a fat child.
No, neither have
I. And number two, I don't know. You can see raccoon's eyes for quite a ways down the road, so must not have been paying attention or something.
Well, he didn't say that it was during the nighttime.
Oh, that's even worse then. If he saw a fat child in the road, you think he would have had ample time to slow down. Kid, take that fur coat off. It isn't that cold outside. And then swerved around and missed him. So, obviously he didn't. So,
yeah, he is a little weird. So,
yeah,
it is possible that he wasn't paying attention until it was too late.
Until it was too late because he was texting or something, right?
I don't know. But yeah, we start seeing animals.
Right.
I mean, not even turtles. Just start seeing the animals. I did have on the way home from the investigation this weekend, I did have a deer run across the road in front of me, but I was able to slow down in plenty of time. So
that's a famous area out there for deer liking to jump out in front of cars and do brake checks.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently. So everyone just needs to be careful. We're all in we're all in this universe together. We are all we're all living in it, and I know that there are a lot of people out there, including in the show, who like to take guns and shoot certain animals, but or hook, line, and eat them animals. But yeah, I just eat like cows and chickens and pigs. I'm sure there's other ones that I eat too, but I don't kill them.
Yeah.
Turkey, yes, turkey. I don't kill turkeys either. Although there are a crap ton of wild turkeys on my route, like shockingly so. And some of them are huge.
It's that time of year, man. They're out looking for dates.
Well, they need to stay away from me and my truck. But I thought it'd be kind of funny. I had this idea many years ago that if I was ever bored, that I would try and do like a Steve Irwin type video, the crocodile hunter.
Yep.
And that I would do like some, like selfie video of me like trying to creep up on some turkeys and do the whole narration thing, and then hopefully because I heard that these wild turkeys are really ornery.
The males really are when they're got their flock of girls. So I was just going to say, and they got pretty good talons. So be careful if you are crawling around alligator man style or crocodile man style, trying to do a selfie on the turkey whisperer. And then you get your ass kicked by a 30-pound turkey and you get scratched all the hell.
Well, see, that was going to be the funny part of it, was that after a while, like I would try to like jump them, and then they would chase me around, and I could have like the video going like Blair Witch Project style, and just something to do when I'm bored.
Yeah. Yep.
But that has not come to fruition yet. So watch for the time when it does, because there will be a live premiere here on the show. So you will have to watch it, obviously.
There'll be a live link to the YouTube page. It's on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would put it separately on the YouTube page, but it would world premiere on Michael O'Neill. Yeah, Michael O'Neill, Turkey Hunter.
Can't wait. I'm so looking forward.
We'll get with Doug. That'll be like some B-reel, or like the
right.
And he can make a documentary out of it.
There you go. You do that. Anyways. I'll do the turtles. I'll do a little self-documentary on the turtles as I'm creeping up on them as they're trying to race away, and I'm, he's really got a head of steam now. No, that'd be like watching paint dry. Not that. Stop stealing my ideas. Anyway, great show for everybody tonight. I'm really looking forward to the second hour. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the whole show, but second hour, we are welcoming back our great friend Dana Mitchell, historian of epic proportions, and one of the main stars of Ghost of Shepherdstown. Yep. Somebody who Dave and I have grown to like and respect so much, we have given her own sub show. Yep. And so you're going to be here to listen, to watch the next installment of Random Shit with Dana Mitchell. As she stumps us, which she does frequently. I don't know if she'll stump us. But we don't know what topic she's bringing up. Right. This is all on Dana. So,
just like our guests don't know what questions we are going to ask,
Right.
We do not know what topics she is going to bring up.
Right.
So we either will have absolutely no idea what she's talking about, or we might. I just found out yesterday that she left Facebook like a year ago, and I did not notice.
Huh.
Yeah, apparently you didn't either.
No. No. Has it been a year? Well, we'll have to ask her why. What happened?
Yeah.
Maybe the trolls were just trying to destroy her life or something. You know, people like to troll other people.
I said that could be a great topic for her to bring up.
Yeah,
reason
absolutely.
why she left. So,
should we do one more quick announcement?
Are we doing announcements?
Well, yeah, we got one quick one. So just in case this goes viral, you heard it here first. Two confirmed cases of monkeypox have moved out of the East Africa region. One in Scotland and one in the U.S.
I don't know what that is.
It is a variant of smallpox, but not as deadly. It has a death rate of about 6%. So
okay.
That's the
good
newest.
Announcement.
Yeah, that's the newest thing now. Everybody's like, well, this is going to be the next coronavirus. I mean, there's world news agencies are starting to talk about it, so I just thought we'd throw it out there, not to make anybody worry, but there is a case already in the U.S., and it usually never leaves the African area or African continent. I shouldn't say African area, African continent.
Gotcha.
So we'll see.
Yeah, you know that whenever
who is already talking about it? So the World Health Organization's already put out a bulletin about it.
Right. But all I'm saying is that if you start a topic with, we don't want to make anybody fearful, but, and then we go into it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to freak out in fear. Well, that's like saying, don't look down. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look down.
Our listeners are more educated than that.
I don't care how intelligent you are. You're told not to look down. You're going to effing look down.
Okay, tell me to look down.
You're not. No, that's just dumb.
All right, come on. Let's get the stories because we only got 45 minutes and Dana's going to be on. We can't run late tonight.
Well, of course not. But we.
So I threw that out there just because I found it to be interesting that the World Health Organization is already talking about it.
I got it. All right. So I tried to read these while at work today. And I got through most of them, but I'm just seeing the title of the first one right now, and I already don't like it. All right. Story number 1. Odd synchronicities. I hate that word very, very much, but that's okay. All right. I've had numerous strange experiences, especially in recent days, where I'll think of something random that I don't usually think about, and someone on the street or something in my environment will reflect that. For example, today this happened 3 times. I was walking down the street thinking about how I want to read a book by J.G. Ballard for his unique writing style, and a girl walked past me telling her friend, "It's like in that J.G. Ballard novel." Or, for example, I went out to buy eyeliner in a shade I don't usually buy called Moonlight. And as I picked it up, the song Dancing in the Moonlight comes on the radio in the store where they usually only play recent pop songs. This happens to me a lot. What could it be? These are very random and specific thoughts too, so it's unusual and sometimes even creepy to hear them out loud from my environment. Whew, okay. One, I have no flipping idea at all who J.G. Ballard is. I don't know why anybody would want to read his novel or talk about it. So I don't know. Do you know who he is?
Well, he's fairly famous author, so you probably shouldn't be slamming him on the show just because you're unfamiliar with his work. We don't need anybody. We don't need anybody to be like, "Well, what the hell?"
I didn't know that I was slamming him. I just said I don't know who he is, and then I don't know why you would want to read his stuff, because
that's the slamming part.
Well, I'm not. That is not. That was not meant as he's obviously a horrible writer. That's why I don't know about him. So why would you want? It's I don't know what his writing is, so I have no idea why people want to read his stuff.
Gotcha.
That's all I'm saying. It
Okay.
wasn't meant to be a slam on him. It was just
Okay.
I don't know anything about him. But apparently, if he's a pretty famous author, then honestly, this just seems to be more coincidences than anything. I go into a lot of places who play music, and probably 90% of the time it's all the same music, whatever genre they want to play. And then for whatever reason, on day 13 or day 12, whatever, I walk in there and they're playing something completely different. It happens. Somebody else is in charge of the radio. The boss is gone. They just want to mix it up a little bit. They're tired of hearing Britney Spears, every 10 minutes.
Right.
I even have a customer who their entire business is rock and roll and rock. And almost every time I go in, they're playing, YouTube videos of Queen and, a whole bunch of other oldies and Alice Cooper. And then for whatever reason, I'll go in there and they're playing country. It happens. Obviously, like I said, if this guy's a famous author, it's not that difficult to believe that you would overhear somebody talking about it. Now, obviously, to be thinking about it and then having it happen, it's interesting. I don't think there's anything paranormal about it per se. The only thing that I will add to my answer for this one is obviously there is the ability of clairsentient. And I've been told that I have it. But, you could be picking up, you could have been picking up thoughts from that other girl. And maybe I do think that the music is probably pretty much a coincidence, but any of these other things that have gone on, you could just be picking up things that the other people are thinking, and kind of merging them into your own thought process. And then, hey, this happens. I don't think you need to be creeped out by it. I think it does take some getting used to. I know it took me some getting used to, because you always don't want to assume that you're going to be right or that this. There's something I'm missing. There's always something that it makes you want to doubt it, but it is possible. So that's all I got. Again, not judging, not slamming J.G. Ballard. I just don't know who he is.
Okay. I think that there's something more going on here. I think that it was that she only added a couple of examples. And I think if there were like more coincidences, or more like this has happened to me and this happened type of thing, because I think there's more to it going on there. So I think it's strange that you would have something specifically random, right? And unusual, not so something that you're not thinking about on a regular basis. And then as you're thinking about that, all of a sudden something seems to pop into your same time space as you, or same environment as you. Like, let's say that I was random, I'm just random thought pops in my head as a bullfrog. And all of a sudden I glance over and look out with the window and there's a bullfrog sitting in the window looking at me. That would be more than a coincidence, I think. I don't think that would be a coincidence. I think that would be some sort of sign, for lack of a better term. Like that was some sort of like something. There would be something I would need to that was special for me to know about that. So in her examples, like the moonlight shade, maybe that was some sort of confirmation that that was the right color for her because it's not a color she usually wears. The JG Ballard, maybe that's a sign for her that she needs to make a better effort to go get one of his books since she enjoys the way his writing style, and that for some reason something is telling her that now's the right time for you to read more by this author. And if there were other examples that she gave, I mean, maybe they would line up a little bit more solid. So I think that this is potentially, I won't say probably, potentially one of the case, like a case where maybe she's really in tune with her environment and maybe the environment is in tune with her. And there is some kind of synchronicity going on. So
you had to use that word, didn't you? Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, if she would have given more examples, I would have more to go on.
Right.
But
as would I, because then I could be totally go a different direction if I had more examples.
Yeah, exactly.
I might not go the direction I went.
Exactly. Or it may prove that it's more of a coincidence than it is
right.
Something paranormal. Although I still don't think it's, even though I guess clairsentience is considered part of paranormal ability.
Part of the paranormal, yeah.
Part of the paranormal. So I mean, I don't think there's anything conspiratorial. How about that?
Right.
I agree. I think it's, if anything, it's probably a lot of she's just picking up on different energies from around her, and then obviously they happen, and she's merging them into her own thought process. Because I've done that too. I've had random things pop into my head. That used to happen all the time on investigations when Ricky was part of the team. Is I would ask a question, and she all of a sudden she'd be like, "I was just getting that from them," because she had obviously mediumship abilities, or she was about to ask that question. So it happens all the time. I have it with Lauren, although she usually beats me to it. So she'll ask a question and I'll just kind of smile. I'm like, that was the next question I was about to ask. So yeah, it definitely happens. It doesn't need to be creepy. You just need to,
no, I don't think it's creepy at all.
Yeah. Get used to it. I mean, that's really all you need to do.
I would take that type of experience as something that was kind of exciting, because I would think that something was leading me on a path or reaffirming what my thoughts were as yep, you're making the right decision. Yep, you should do this. Yep, you should do that type of thing. So that bullfrog would be like, yep, you should have frog legs soon to eat, because they've been on your mind for a while anyway. Okay. So on that note of eating frogs, number 2, do Ouija boards really work? I've read some stories on people's experiences with Ouija boards. They're very interesting. I've only tried a Ouija board once, in air quotes for some reason, when I was a kid. My stepdad bought it as a Christmas gift. Him and I played it only once. So twice he's pointed that out. Nothing happened. After about a half an hour, we just goofed around moving the planchette and making jokes, then packed it up. My question is, do Ouija boards really work? My wife and I are talking about getting one. We've been together 44 years. Oh, congratulations. And have had our own paranormal experiences over the years. So we thought, why not? We would appreciate and like to hear from anyone who could give us their advice. Thanks in advance. I absolutely think that you're the prime candidate for getting a Ouija board. I think you should get a Ouija board. You should pull it out of the box and not pay attention to any of the processes. Don't open it properly. Don't close the session down, because obviously you didn't close the session down with your stepdad anyway when you were a kid. So that session's still open somewhere in the time-space continuum. But yeah, I think that some people are just right to have a Ouija board, and I think in this situation, this guy is a prime candidate for having a Ouija board. Let it go to heck with it, man. Just pull her out, play her whenever you want, take her on vacation with you. That's all I got.
Usually the sarcasm is my field. So usually, you're on the good cop. I'm on the bad cop.
Yeah.
Now you're like middle to bad cop, and now I have to go extreme left. So, okay, extreme bad cop.
Well, don't burn it all, because the next question involves Ouija boards too. So don't waste all of your expertise, all of your thought process on this one question.
You were about to say expertise.
I was going to say expertise.
There are no experts in this field.
No.
Obviously, I think he's putting it in the once in air quotes because he didn't really use it. Yeah, they had it out and they did some shit and nothing happened. So I don't think he considers that as actually using it.
Okay.
And probably the reason why nothing happened is because, him and his dad, probably stepdad, had no idea what they were doing, and probably didn't know at all how to actually do it. Now, obviously, I applaud the whole "and you never took it back out" part of it. So, moving on to later in life. You've been together 44 years. I agree. Congratulations on being together that long. You will not make it to 45. Because I think that if you attempt to do this and it works, you should both just divorce each other.
That won't help.
Well, it helped whatever spirit they brought in. Very much so. So, So here's what I can't process. You've been together 44 years, which means you're probably 50s and 60s. I'm assuming, maybe if you
60s for sure. I mean, unless you met when you were 12.
Well, I mean, maybe you dated in high school or whatever. I don't know.
Right. That would still make you 62 if you were 18 when you got married.
And they did say, they said that we've been together. They said we've been married. So at least 50s and 60s.
Right. I'm saying at least 60s is what I
learn cribbage. Go golf.
Cribbage is a fun game.
Learn cribbage. Yeah. What the hell are you two doing? Being like, you know what? You know what this relationship needs? Demons. That's what we need in our lives. We need to bring in spirits. We need to talk to the dead, because apparently you're going to become one very soon. So, maybe make some introductions now. Just no. Seriously. I mean, I know Dave is being all sarcastic and this is the perfect guy. No. Just stop being stupid. Retire, go on vacation, get drunk. I don't care. Leave the freaking Ouija boards alone. I don't know. What is wrong with old people? Like, I never thought I would ever have to say that on this show, where the one thing that they come up with that's missing from their lives is talking to the dead.
Or in this case, particularly playing with a Ouija board.
Well, that's what I mean. Using the Ouija board to try and talk to the dead.
Or, opening up a portal.
Where does that thought process come from? I can't.
Paranormal TV, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, I get the youngsters. I get the late teens. I get the early 20s, the people who are learning stuff in life. I can't get behind a 44-year-old, not a 44-year-old relationship wanting to bring that in. I can't do it. I can't circle my head around it. So, do Ouija boards really work? Yes, when done correctly, or I guess incorrectly. That's when they really work.
Yeah, that's when they're at their best.
Yeah, and you don't want to mess with them.
You know how I told you a while back, a few episodes ago, that I've changed my viewpoint and that I was going to be totally okay with charging clients who
the
have the
stupidity
stupidity
clause.
factor. Yeah.
The stupidity fee.
The stupidity fee. That's like, just for answering this question and giving advice, I feel like I'm owed $50.
No. Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Because
that's what it feels like, though.
Yeah, I know. But you're doing humanity a service by trying to stop the ill-equipped from doing something stupid. That should just be your basic human responsibility.
I'm gonna start making us badges.
Like Boy Scout badges,
merit badge. Yes, absolutely.
We got our Ouija board badge.
We got our Ouija board badge, and we've got our,
got
our
K2
badge. It's not a demon badge. Millimeter badge. Yep.
The equipment badge.
Exactly.
When you spent over 10 grand on.
I'll never earn that badge, but
on equipment, you get the badge.
No, not unless I buy a FLIR someday. I'm never going to see the 10 grand. I'll never get the 10 grand badge.
Well, but that's like that's not only a badge, it's like a patch is what you get there.
Yeah, with like real gold embroidering.
I get that.
Right.
All right. I don't have anything else for this person.
Well, we're not leaving the topic, so I'm gonna save my father knows best speech for after this question.
Gotcha. So Dave has gifted me this very long story, so everybody needs to bear with me. Number 3, there's something wrong in my house. A common occurrence in my house that still happens to this day is doors opening and closing without any wind or human influence. The most notable instance of this was one day where I was washing my hands and suddenly the bathroom door swung closed. I looked up in panic and watched as the door began to swing open and closed. I shouted out to see if anyone was on the landing, but my family were all downstairs. I cautiously turned around and called out for whatever was there to prove itself by closing the doors. After a few seconds pause, the door slammed shut and I screamed, quickly opening the door and running out of the bathroom. Once I had calmed down, I went back to the bathroom, thinking it might have been the wind, but to my horror, the window was closed tight. For Christmas one year, I asked for a Ouija board. I was a weird kid. Still, now you're a weird adult. I used the board a few times with family in locations other than my own house. I had never been confident enough to use it in my home. Knowing the already concerning experiences I had had over the years, I was too scared to risk communicating with whatever may be living in the house. But one night, I decided that I felt brave enough to use the board in my home. Of course you did. It was around 2 a.m., the best time to use a board. I had got the board out ready and opened it using the safest methods I knew. I sat with my fingers resting on the planchette for a few minutes. I was too scared to ask anything. It felt like all of my courage from moments ago had vanished into thin air. I sat in tense silence for a few minutes before finally asking a question. Is there anyone there who would like to communicate? I asked quietly, not wanting to wake the others in my house. Almost instantaneously, the planchette slid across the board. I felt a shiver run down my spine. I hadn't expected a response, especially not one this quickly. I tried to quell my building panic as the planchette flew across the board and sat firmly on yes. I sucked in a sharp breath and tried to think about what to ask next. What's your name? I asked more cautiously, no response. How old are you? Still nothing. I asked a few more questions, but to no avail. I had got one explicit response and then nothing more, not even a shift. The planchette sat completely motionless on yes. Feeling defeated, I shut down the board. However, I couldn't leave it just like that. I had an uneasy feeling brewing in my stomach. I sat and contemplated what to do for a while before deciding to reopen the board and try again. I repeated the opening process and got ready to ask the questions again, this time with more determination. Is there anyone there who would like to communicate? I asked. Once again, the planchette flew to yes, this time with more force. I had to swallow back a yelp at the action. I repeated the same questions from the previous session, and still I received no response. Apart from the first response, my blood ran cold. I felt as if there was a looming presence in the room, watching my every move, but I couldn't see anyone. I closed the board frantically and hid it behind my bed. The feeling of pure terror didn't leave. I didn't fall asleep that night. I've never used that board in my room since. Sometimes when I see it in the corner of my eye, I can feel that terrifying presence looming over my shoulder. I've not had any extreme experiences in a while now, and whenever I've spoken to my family about it, they have laughed and said I was imagining things. But I can't help but worry about what is living in this house, and why is it only coming for me? Whew!
That's a beauty.
Okay.
Yeah, nice job.
Thank you. Even tried to get dramatic with it.
I know. I appreciate that. It was a good job.
So, thank you. Okay. I'll give you kudos on knowing to shut down the board. I hope that you did it correctly, but I'm going to assume that you did. The fact that you know that you have to shut down the board, usually you also know how to do that, or at least what you should do in order to do that. So
Right.
I'll give you kudos on that one. Not a lot of people will do that. But going back to the whole, maybe if you're terrified of something, maybe you shouldn't do it. I know everybody says you need to face your fears. This is not exactly one of those moments. Like, you don't need to use a Ouija board. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying that in general. Obviously, whatever you were communicating with, is there anyone here that wants to communicate? Yes. Obviously, you weren't asking the right questions. Wasn't interested in giving you his name. Wasn't interested in telling you how old it was. Probably wanted you to go one step further and invite it in and all this other stuff. Plus, you don't know that whatever spirit that was moving that thing to yes was even in your house. That's the thing about Ouija boards. You have no idea who you're talking to. It's not confined to your space. It's the same with the spirit box.
Right.
Just when so many people turn it on in, like a private home or in a historical place, it's not confined to that building. Any spirit from anywhere can talk to you. So you don't know who you're talking to. And that's one of the big issues with Ouija boards. I mean, they can tell you they're your Uncle John who passed away 5 years ago. You don't know that that's really Uncle John. So it's one of the reasons why it's one of my biggest pet peeves of people. You're either so reckless with it, you don't care who you're talking to, and you should, or you're very specific and very trusting, and you need to not do that. That's why they just need to be left alone. So, I mean, again, I'll give this person props for never using it again after that one night. I'm glad that nothing big has happened since then. Maybe all it wanted was a little acknowledgement. Maybe it thinks that you'll come back and communicate. I wouldn't. I would leave it as it is. If it's not doing anything to you, and all you feel is that looming presence or whatever, which might actually be you just freaking yourself out, leave it alone. I I don't think that it's coming from you. Slamming doors and opening and closing doors is not like an act of war. Like, it's not, I'm trying to hurt you. It's more like I'm trying to startle you, or I'm trying to scare you, because it gives me, glee, it gives me happiness to do it. Is he a dick? Yeah. But he's not coming for you. He probably just knows that he can give you, he can get you to give him the reaction he wants. So, okay. I think that's about it.
How many Ouija boards a year do you think they sell?
Oh, Jesus. Too many.
I just have to look it up.
I heard you
Popped
typing.
into my head. Yeah. That's what I was typing. It popped into my head, and I got really inquisitive. I needed to know myself for some reason.
I'm sure it's a couple million.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was that high, but that's what they're saying, around 2 million a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of freaking Ouija boards floating around out there with dumb people using them. And I shouldn't say dumb people, with people irresponsibly using them. Sorry. Let me retract my statement.
So, I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, how many of them are bought as gifts and then never used?
A fair percentage, probably. Grandma goes to Games by James and, well, what should I get her? There's the Barbie edition of the Ouija board. Let's get her that. It's pink,
Side note, I delivered a Barbie dream house the other day.
Nice.
I don't
built-in Ouija board?
No. Thankfully, as far as I know, have never delivered a Ouija board. Although I do have a customer that I've been to many, many times who their welcome mat is a Ouija board.
Nice. Do you stop and ask questions?
No.
Good.
I don't have time to ask questions. I can use my foot.
Yeah. Just tap it.
If anybody wants to communicate, and all of a sudden my foot slides across the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. But I did roll my eyes the first time I saw it. So
I totally believe you on that one. It's probably one of those houses like where they've got a one of the walls that's decorated differently, and they've got just like Ouija boards screwed into the walls everywhere.
I don't know. I can't see into their house. I don't need to. But yeah, their welcome mat's a Ouija board. But anyway, so your answer.
I agree with you on this. The fact that this person knows enough to be opening the board properly and is saying that they closed the board properly, which is good. But then that brings to mind probably the number one rule of Ouija boards is that never to use them alone. So that's like one of the top things that are even in the printed instructions, I believe, is that you never use a Ouija board alone, that it's a shared experience. And I think there's probably a reason behind that. I don't know what the reason is, but it's kind of, I think it's the same mentality that we have of not to investigate your own home. I don't think you're not supposed to use a Ouija board by yourself. So that said, it sounds to me like there were a whole bunch of sessions over time, like out of the house and then in the house. I definitely think the cold, looming, terrifying presence over your shoulder is just your imagination because of the fact that you're using something that can open up a portal to a lot of different places. It can open up a two-way door or two-way mirror, however you want to look at it. And can it open up and let a demon in? Absolutely, they can. They can let all kinds of stuff in. They could, just in saying that, they probably could let an angel in too if there was some reason that an angel would need a Ouija board to come through. I don't think angels have to use that sort of portal entrance. But yeah, we've said it 1,000 times in the last month. Leave the board alone. Don't play with it again. This board's been used a lot, so I'm going to assume that this board's going to be active. I think that's a safe bet. I think that the planchette, for just one person using it, sliding to yes aggressively, is a sign that something's there, but it's not interested in it's not interested in disclosing who or what it is, which is kind of creates the fear factor thing again. So my best advice here would be to bind this board and get rid of it, and not ever use one again, because there's no reason to. And then I would try and take the space back in the house, would be my advice, to get things to calm down. By opening up portals, you certainly are not helping yourself. So I'll just leave it at that. So anything else you want to throw in there, Mike?
Nope.
All right. So done with Ouija boards for tonight. Number 4, strange mass that disappeared into a mirror. One evening, I was lying on my bed scrolling through Facebook. It was only me, my partner, and my dog in the house. The dog was lying on her bed by the foot of my bed, and my partner was in the bathroom, adjacent to the bathroom with the door shut. Okay. We had not long moved in, so the mirror in the bathroom had not yet been fixed and was propped up at the foot of the bath behind the taps. So I'm lying on the left side of the bed, and all of a sudden I look up at a mass forming in the right corner of the room, slightly behind my head. I can only describe it as a scrambled black and white mass, similar to an old TV that when you switched onto a channel that had no reception. It moved quickly, going beneath the light bulb in the middle of the room, causing the room to darken briefly as it blocked out the light. So obviously it had legitimately some mass to it. It then exited via the bedroom door towards the bathroom. As soon as it passed over my dog, she quickly got up, barked, and frantically followed it to the bathroom and began scratching at the closed door and crying. As she was doing this, I heard my partner shout, "What the F?" Then he shouted that something had just flown into the mirror and disappeared. We had all seen it, so I knew I wasn't going mad, but this has literally bugged me ever since. I would be interested to know if anyone else has had a similar experience, or if anyone could shed some light on what we saw that night. All right. So this is good for 2 reasons. Number 1, because you've got a mirror that's acting as a legitimate portal and something actively coming out of it and or going into it. And secondly, you got multiple witnesses and an animal, which is probably the best witness, that all reacted to it. So here's the thing. I would say that the mass was a release of energy. Who it was, what it was, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to have more information before I could put a name or an ID on it. But it's interesting that it actually carried enough mass that it made the light go dark. I find that to be very interesting. So that means they had some form to it. Yet it still looked like what would be, to me, the way I would describe that would just be like a funky electrical discharge. And I've seen stuff like that too, like the old TV screens, but never in a mass form. It's always been kind of a fleeting energy burst, or inside an orb. I know we're not big on orbs, but I have seen orbs. You've seen orbs in the cemetery. Like I've seen orbs that literally had that old TV signal in them, which I found very interesting. So I don't know exactly what it was. Like I said, I can't put a name on it, what it was, but if it's only a one-time experience and it hasn't happened since, I would just chalk it up to welcome to the paranormal. You've just earned your "I saw something disappear into a mirror" badge.
You're getting very specific on these badges.
I'm going to be on that for a while. It just pops into my head whenever I'm talking. I could have already awarded 3 or 4, but I've curtailed that to only 1 so far. But anyway, so I have not had that exact experience, but I find it very interesting. Something manifested in your room. Something traveled, caught your attention, caught your partner's attention, caught the dog's attention. Everybody saw it. Everybody reacted to it. The only thing I will finalize with is I find it interesting that the dog was crying at the door and scratching at it and was not barking. So I would think if it was something bad that was giving off a bad energy, that the dog would be barking in a defensive fashion, trying to protect you and your partner. It wasn't. It was crying, almost like it was sad that whatever this thing was going. So I would take some comfort in that. If that's how my dog reacted, that would not bother me. So.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that this only happened once, it's startling, but it didn't attack you. It didn't even seem to really be all that interested in you. Otherwise, it would have stopped and looked at you for a minute and then gone away. It just half materialized, shot into the bathroom, and then went through the mirror. It might not even have been interested in your house. It might have just been looking for a portal.
Right.
And that mirror happened to be one. We don't know what portals look like on the other side. Are they beacons of light? Are they, what do they look like? So, if some spirit or whatever is walking down the street or coming down the street, look for something, are they able to see them when they're inside the house? Obviously it might have just been entering your house through that corner of your room. I don't know if it has to go through more. Usually bedrooms are on, the outside of a home.
Yep.
So, it might have just been passing through looking for that portal, and it was charged enough and had enough energy to form itself in some fashion and then, shoot through. I guess I don't know. I don't necessarily think that the dog crying is indicative of the type of energy it's registering, but who knows? I would just be happy that it only happened once, apparently, because obviously they haven't written that it keeps on happening.
Nope.
And as you said, welcome to the paranormal. It's just another one of those personal experiences you're going to be able to tell at parties for many, many years. And it was crazy. I probably would get that mirror cleansed. There's a way to seal up any portal, any opening or whatever that may be on it. Just for the safety of it, I would do that. I would try and get that done. I know olive oil is part of it. Because I actually had it done here. We'll have to see, but again, nothing to worry about. I think you and your partner and dog will be just fine after this incident. So Dana is ready to go. So I think we should go to a quick break and then come back and start.
Works for me.
All right. We will be right back, everybody, with the great Dana Mitchell and her sub-show, Random Shit with Dana Mitchell. We will be right back.
Hey, this is Grant Wilson from Ghost Hunters, and if you ever have time that you never want to get back, spend it listening to Mike and Dave on the Odyssey Files.
Hey, everybody, it's Chad Lindbergh, and you are listening to the Odyssey Files with David and Michael. And let me tell you, it's almost as painful as a Skype glitch.
Hi, I'm Chuck Zukowski from UFOnut.com and Alien Highway. I thought I was the only UFO nut until I met Mike and Dave with the Odyssey Files. They're a lot crazier than I am.
Hello, I'm Al Lagarde from Paper Route Productions, executive producer, Kindred Spirits, Paranormal State, a whole bunch of television shows. And I've worked with a lot of people on paranormal projects and met a lot of people in paranormal radio. And I want to say that Dave and Mike are two people who have a face for radio, in particular, internet radio.
Hey, it's Chris Fleming. More painful than a Tyrannosaurus Rex stepping on your testicle. Listen to Dave and Mike on Odyssey Files.
This is Elizabeth Saint. You know, In my journeys, I've confronted an over 1,000-year-old demon from the depths of Shepherdstown. But then, you know what happened? I came across Mike and Dave. And hot damn, nothing could have prepared me for the Odyssey Files. My second favorite radio show. I love you guys.
And we are back. So, Dave's all newly refreshed.
Water.
All right. So, I've been looking forward to this all week. And I say without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the host of Random Shit with Dana Mitchell, Miss Dana Mitchell. Hello, Dana. How are you?
Hi. How's everybody? It's been too long.
It has been
really
a long
has.
time.
Yeah. I didn't. I should actually go and look exactly how long it's been since you were on. But yes, it has been at least a year.
Oh, I know. I went crazy for a while because of the COVID lockdowns and stuff. I was doing great. And then all of a sudden I just went into major anxiety mode, but recovered and here I am.
Well, good. I'm glad that you are still with us. You did not. Have you gotten COVID?
No, I never got COVID, but it was a number of things. You know, we moved from West Virginia back to Maryland and all the COVID was going on and trying to sell our house. And we were essentially like couch surfing for 6 months and that got to me. And I had just a disagreement with an extended family member just kind of like flipped the switch and I went in total anxiety mode for a long time, for months. It was awful. But strangely, I discovered a book called Downloads from the Nine. And the book is written, I don't know if you can see this. No. But it's kind of like in a square spiral and all the words are backwards. So it totally occupies your mind. And that totally. Yes.
I was going to say, do you have to read it in a
year? I don't know if it's.
You got a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, you have it. Well, there's paragraphs that tell you what is being said, but then you have to read this, and like it just takes so much focus. My mind couldn't think of anything else. So actually, this is kind of like this book ascending into the fifth dimension, which I hear. So, but it did help me get through my anxiety. So thank you, Mr. Flurry, for Downloads from the Nine. The Nine, of course, are interdimensional beings.
The original Nine, the gatekeepers, right?
I don't know.
That's how I knew them.
If that's oh, okay.
That's how, at least that's how I heard of them. Yeah, that they were like the original nine gatekeepers, or supreme beings, I guess, however you want to look at it, right? And they each had their own, responsible for their own sections.
Wow, yeah, I've never heard of them at all. So you two are both up on me on that one. So were you able to read that entire book? Because just looking at it looked like a mind F.
It was. It truly was. And yes, I was determined. I was so kind of fixated on it. I took the book with me wherever I went. And like whenever I was feeling upset, I would just sit and read it because it was so hard to read. I mean, it's like words are backwards and going in a spiral, and that's all your brain can tolerate, evidently. All my brain could tolerate. But like I said, until I was able to get over this anxiety episode. It helped me a lot. I don't know if it did anything else. Supposedly, while I was reading it, the 9 were fiddling with my DNA and different systems in the body, but I don't know about that. But I did get over my anxiety, and Lexapro helped too.
So, Dana, what is your first topic tonight?
My trip to Arizona, actually. I just got back from Arizona. Have you all been to Arizona?
Oh, yes.
Yep, lived out there for a few years.
Oh, did you? In what part?
Scottsdale, North Scottsdale, and then the 76th and Indian School in Phoenix.
Well, first we went to Tucson because my husband's uncle is being held captive there in an assisted living home. I don't know if you're aware of that thing that goes on in the South. I mean, it could go on anywhere, but it seems to be quite popular in the Southwest of elderly people getting spirited away and having their guardianship taken away from them. There's a movie called, I think it's called I Care for You. It's with Diane Weiss and the ever-loving Peter Dinklage. And that explains the whole story. What happens in that movie is what happened to my husband's uncle. So my husband, who has been on a crusade to try to help his uncle all these years get out of this assisted living place, will tell people, I'm going to visit my uncle who's on death row. And I said, would you stop telling people that? It sounds like he's a criminal. But what goes on really is terrible. I have an elderly person who doesn't appear to have much of a family around them, although his uncle did. His uncle's married. And then like a caseworker checks on them and then petitions the court guardianship and then takes over their life. It's really an awful scam. So after that, we visited with him. We wanted to take him out to dinner. His guardian, we could not take him out for dinner. And it's awful because, like I said, he's married, but his wife, the guardian doesn't acknowledge the wife because even though they were together for 30 years, they just got married about 10 years ago, and it was after he'd been diagnosed with onset Alzheimer's, which so they say they're married. And this guardian has control over the house, the cars, and everything, his money. It's crazy. From there.
Can I throw something in quick, Dana?
Sure.
Okay. Because right now in the news, I just saw the lady that used to do the afternoon show. I think it's Wendy Williams is her name. That Wells Fargo filed a guardianship against her for some reason and has seized all of her money and said that she's not mentally capable of handling her own funds right now. And that's happening right now also. And she hasn't been taken to any type of I guess she's got a whole bank of attorneys, and the way she's describing it, it's not going to go very well for her.
But isn't she like
she got sick like a year ago and took some time off, and something is wrong with her physically because you could see the difference in her. Like when she was on this most recent interview, I don't know if she's wasting away from like dementia, but she didn't seem to be out of it when she did the interview. But there's something physically is happening to her. But I don't understand where that would give a bank the right to seize your funds and say you're not in control of your own money. I would imagine her bank account's pretty big. So
Yeah, well, there's lots of guardian, like the person who has our uncle's guardianship is an attorney. We tried to get other attorneys to fight against this, and they don't want to go up against her. And, so there are like professional guardians. If you watch that movie, you'll see they'll get a tip from a doctor, or it's really a racket. It's infuriating, but what you going to do? Where are you going to go?
Bust them out, man. Put a gang together, ride into town.
Yeah.
I said, put a gang together, ride into town, old style, into Tucson, horseback, some Remington or Winchester rifles, and let some lead fly.
Like the old West.
Like the old days. Let some lead fly and break them out.
Sierra Vista, do you know what that is?
Sierra Vista.
It's like a
very
desert
familiar.
with an assisted living home in it.
Okay. I say it sounds familiar. But...
So after Tucson, we went to Phoenix, and then after Phoenix, we went to Sedona. Have you been to Sedona?
I have. Beautiful
What do you think
place.
of Sedona? Truly, it is beautiful. In nature, it's beautiful.
Yeah, visually, it's for Arizona. It's visually an absolute gorgeous place.
Yes.
I think that I think right now it's like Branson, Missouri. I think it's a tourist trap, but I do think that there are legitimate energy locations there that are coming from the earth that you can feel. Because I've been to a couple of them, and I actually had weird experiences.
Yeah.
But now it's overkill with touristy type of shit. So.
Oh yeah, that's like anybody I said I'm going to Sedona, and everybody's like, "Oh, I love Sedona. I love Sedona. I had a religious epiphany there. I saw UFOs. I, had a spiritual." So I'm all revved up for this. So we go there, and like you're right, it's like I was, let's say, by Sedona itself, I was underwhelmed. Sorry, New Age friends. I was a little bit disappointed. Actually, I liked going to Jerome. Have you been to Jerome?
I have.
It's a mining town up in the mountains with views, and its industries were mining and prostitution. That's my kind of town.
Yep. And it's haunted.
But back to Sedona. Yeah, haunted. But and I would recommend everybody go to Jerome and have a good time. But in Sedona, which is really, really upscale and expensive too, it's not just a tourist thing; it's expensive.
It
and I was waiting. I was expecting something to happen. Not only that, it's a dark town, one of those designated dark cities that keep the lights down so you can see the sky at night. That was really neat because where I live, the only thing you can see in the sky at night is the moon and Venus. So going there and seeing the stars again, that was like, wow, I forgot there were so many stars.
Yeah,
I like that. But as far as spiritual epiphanies or seeing a UFO or even an animal, I wanted to see an animal. I wanted to see a javelina. I'm starting to think they make them up. They don't really exist because everyone's like, oh, I have javelinas in my yard. And oh, javelinas ate my garden. And I got nothing. No UFOs, no javelinas, no skinwalkers, no chupacabras. No. So, but I had a nice vacation and it's beautiful there. Everybody go and see the Red Rocks.
I think you got hosed, Dana.
They're at the wrong time of year, Dana. You must have been there at the wrong month or something.
And my poor husband, he's not here. We have timeshares, and he got another timeshare. Rajaj managed to get out of it under the 10-day rule, but it's like, no, not another timeshare. They just caught right into it. So
did you get
timeshare? I'm gonna get another dog. We got out of it. Thank heavens.
Good.
But did you at least get like the free lunch and stuff that they?
The free lunch. Yeah, we got a gift card for $75 dinner. Reasonable. You could accept. And it was the restaurant on site where we were staying. Two of us who don't drink. He linguine, and I got gnocchi, which is just a little pasta, a pasta ball with sauce. $127.
So that's quite the meal. Like that linguine had better given me a back rub before I ate it.
And the gnocchi. Wow. I mean, how much cheaper can you get the gnocchi?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, were there gold bonito flakes shaved over the top of it, or
no?
No, that's a lot of money for two pasta dishes. I gotta agree. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was a good experience for me. I was kind of disappointed. It's not scenery, of course. That's God's great creation, and it's beautiful. But I don't know what I was expecting. No, yes, there's vortexes there. There's also a vortex in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. So I'm familiar with the vortexes. How do you define a vortex? Because when I used to take people on my walk, I had to explain what a vortex was.
For me, it's
an our tour guide. I don't know.
For me, it was in Sedona anyway. It was physical. Like I felt the vibration.
Yeah.
Coming up through my feet and into my hands, and if I stood there long enough, my hands got really light. Like it almost felt like they were rising from the side of my body myself, or by themselves. Like I was not doing that. Like I started feeling lighter. So I don't know if that was I don't think it was spiritually lighter, although I felt spiritually lighter too. It almost felt like I got cleansed in a bath of goodness, I guess. But the vibrational thing, it moves through your body. It's unique. It makes me feel calm. But
I did feel a lot calmer there.
Yeah.
No, I could feel its presence. I mean, I'm not a hiker or a climber, so I didn't actually go to some of the spots because they required walk or climbing.
Right.
And but I still could feel a calm all around me. Now, the one in Shepherdstown, of course, in Sedona, they're all over Sedona. We just have one big one in Shepherdstown, and I guess a few smaller ones that aren't as noticeable. But that was where a line and a geodetic line intersected near water and limestone, which contained crystal. So that's where it came about there.
What did you feel there? Like the one in Shepherdstown, how did you define, I know where it is because this is what happens to me?
Well, I'd feel tingling there, and everybody knew where the vortex was. I mean, Shepherdstown is 2 blocks long. So everybody knew where the vortex was. And where you feel it the most, there's a dirt circle. Now, I don't know if this circle was man-made or if it's been. And so I would take all my visitors to the circle, and I would feel tingling or a buzzing. And some people felt tingling, and some people felt uplifted, and some people didn't feel anything at all. And I had one person take a picture from the center, and it was the coolest picture because it looked and I was there, so I saw she just took a picture, but it was all swirled around. It was like if she had stood in the center and spun around. You could see this swirl in her picture. So, you think the Anunnaki are coming back? I miss parts of it. I actually miss my old house. I realize now that I'm living in, a senior condominium, and when you walk in the lobby, it's like, welcome to the old folks home. But I didn't realize how much activity I was experiencing in my old house. I would always hear music like from the 1920s. I would hear opera some nights. There was one night that I just heard Italian opera until I fell asleep. And I'd say to my husband, "Do you hear that music?" Of course, he'd say no. I'd hear voices talking. I just thought I'd hear, of course, the knocking. I've talked before about the banging on the walls and the banging on the doors. I thought it was just me. I just thought it was in my head. But since we've moved, I don't hear any of that. No knocking, no music, no calling my name.
Well, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I miss that.
Yeah.
I know. I miss that. Well, I think I told you about, we used to get knocking all the time. Shepherdstown was used as a field hospital. All the houses and buildings in it were used as a field hospital during the Civil War, the Battle of Antietam. And I used to get like bang, bang, bang on the front door, or sometimes on the window, or sometimes on the side of the house. And it would be all hours of the day and night. And of course, you'd go to the door and nobody was there. And the dog would hear it and bark. I had guests hear it. When you go to the door, there's tumbleweeds going down the street. There's nobody around. So I was some kind of residual energy of them bringing a wounded soldier to the house and banging on the door. And then one night, my husband, it was early Saturday morning, there was bang, bang, bang. And my husband said to me, "Would you tell your ghosts to let us sleep?" And so that was the last time I heard of them. They stopped the banging. Ghosts, like, all right, you want to be that way? We just won't bang on your walls anymore.
We'll go over to the next house.
I miss that too.
Yeah.
Do you
I miss that too? So
do you stay in touch with like Sheriff Chief King and them still?
Not really. Not really. They're far away and it's hard. So if my husband goes to Shepherdstown every week, but I haven't been back.
I was just curious if they still they still experience hauntings and stuff like town, or has it really gone down since the show was there?
Oh, never down. I mean, the things that were featured on the show were like stories that could have a big, you could find the backstory on it, and there was a story to it. But there was all kinds of stuff going on that didn't stop. That is a really haunted town. It really genuinely is. And it just a hidden world all around us. But
I got to imagine with
I
all
do
of
miss
the
getting
suffering there, all that suffering that happened there, I think that probably creates some sort of energy profile there that makes it favorable for spirits to kind of move themselves back, into different planes. And then every once in a while they end up being in ours.
And it's right there on it's right there on the Potomac River too, and it's just kind of like in a hot spot. There was one building there. It was part of the university, and it had always been part of the university. It had been built as a dormitory for the nursing students around the turn of the century. And I went through it with some other investigators, and that place was full of everything. I mean, it had spirits from every era. It had nature spirits. It had nasty spirits, demonic, if you will. And it's like, why? Why would they all be here? And this was during a time the students had left for the summer, so the dorms were empty. But somebody in one of the rooms had left like a big thick line of salt along the window and the doorway, which you may know is to keep spirits, or hopefully I hope they got them out first before they put the salt down. Otherwise, it would just keep the spirits in.
Right.
But I had in one of the rooms, there had been a story years ago that some things had gone wrong in there, and they called it an exorcism. I don't know if it was an actual exorcism, because I know you've got to get the Vatican and stuff involved if you do a real Catholic exorcism. But they say they did an exorcism there, and then they carved a cross on the door. So while we were going from room to room in this dormitory, I went in a room with two of my friends, and I just had the strong sensation that rituals had gone on in there. I had a sensation of the burning candles, and I said that some kind of ritual happened in here. And then I felt this nasty thing, it was almost like an eel. It felt like an eel would slither between my ankles and feet. And so we left there, and as soon as we left, the door slammed behind us. So I went down to the caretakers, and I said, which one of the rooms had the cross carved on it? And she said, oh, we replaced that. We replaced that door, but it was room 301. That was the room I had experience in. So I don't know, there were children spirits there, and I don't know. All we could think is that it was kind of like a pit stop on the astral highway, because there was no reason for. Yeah, take a stop. Yeah, but
tea break. Coffee
I was
break.
about to say earlier. Yeah. Do you think the Anunnaki are coming? Anunnaki are coming this year.
Are they supposed to?
Yes, they're supposed to come in 2022. And depending on who you read, they're either going to save us or destroy us.
Well, that's two sides of the black and white, huh? Not a lot of gray matter going on there.
No, not. Yeah, either to destroy us.
Which side are you
we
going
did such
with?
a bad job of things. I'm going with I'll believe when I see it. So far, I haven't seen any Anunnaki.
I'm joining your camp.
Or am I one of them? I'm supposed to be an alien hybrid because of my RH negative blood.
That is correct. You are.
I'm a perfectly nice.
Yes.
Yeah, they say terrible things about people with RH negative, and I'm just like a regular gal.
Who says horrible things about people with RH negative blood?
There are those out there who say that, we're demonic hybrids or alien hybrids, and that we're part of the reptilian agenda and so forth.
But you don't look like a reptilian.
And they always go on and on. I know, except a couple times I've looked at my eyes and they turn into slits, but I think that was just light. I have green eyes, which they say green eyes is a part of RH negative, and it's very rare, but like everyone I know has green eyes, all my friends and stuff.
Yeah, I have green eyes.
Yeah.
I do not.
So are you familiar with this prediction or this story?
No, and that was my next question is what is the context as to why the Anunnaki are supposed to come in 2022?
Okay. Do you know who they are at all or what they're supposed to be?
Well, they're ancient Sumerian, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're part of the ancient Mesopotamian mythology, but that's one thing. Somewhere along the line in Zachariah Sitchin, who wrote The 12th Planet, brought apart this theory that the ancient gods were not really gods, but extraterrestrials. And that it was them that created. Well, first, the story I've heard, and I mean, I'm sure we'll let you know the fine points or what I might be getting wrong or whatever, is that they came to this planet because their planet needed gold. But I have read some things that said, no, they weren't mining for gold. It was agriculture. But most things say gold. So let's say gold. They were mining for gold, and they brought like an enslaved race called the Gigi, who were Anunnakis, but of a lesser class. And they got tired of mining for this stuff, so they rebelled. And so the ones in charge, Enki and Enlil and Anu. And so what are we going to do? So there's primitive hominids on Earth. So like, I don't know, primitive man, or primates. So they mixed their DNA with them and created us and used us as an enslaved race to do their mining. And Enlil wanted to get rid of us when he was done. He wanted us to be destroyed. Enki kind of liked us, and he noticed that we had some intelligence. So he was teaching us things like how to farm and other things. So it ended up there was a great flood. And because Enlil wanted to destroy everything, but Enki told this one guy whose name is unpronounceable to me to build an ark. So, and put, everything he could on the ark, animals and whoever. And then afterwards, they left the planet and said they would be back someday. And that someday is supposedly now. So the planet that they're from is called, and I pronounce everything wrong, by the way. So I'm just
That's
saying,
That's all right. Yeah.
Nibiru or Nibiru is their planet. And it's got a very slow orbit. So it only comes around every, million years or something. And it's supposed to come soon. It's supposed to come now. And it's bring on another flood is one story. Maybe that's the Sumerian story. The extraterrestrial story is that the Anunnaki are going to come back and save us from ourselves, is one theory, or destroy us, or destroy some of us and save some of us. And there's a lot of books on the subject saying.
Doesn't that sound like that to you, Dana? Kind of sounds like Judgment Day, like they stole that from the Bible or the Bible took that from them or whatever the case might be, not to get into that debate.
I think the Bible took that from them because it's older than the Bible.
Right. Right. Yeah. Ancient Sumerians were around long before. Yeah, that's interesting. So I looked it up real quick. So Nibiru, their planet supposedly is on a very elongated elliptical orbit, and it passes through our outer solar system once every 3,600 years. Okay. Is what it says. So now I don't know if that would be something like an astronomical event that you would be able to see their planet, or if that would just allow them to maybe be close enough to us, to kind of time jump, to kind of fold time and time jump to where we are. Maybe it's easier for them or something.
Yeah, well, it's not even recognized by science or NASA or whatever. They exist.
I get that, but you know what? I don't trust NASA because they don't tell the truth about the things that do exist. And our government certainly
Oh, I
doesn't
know.
tell the truth about the things that they're pumping up into outer space, and the creation of the Space Force, where like now we're going to be nuking aliens to keep them out of our, keep them away from planet Earth. I mean, Jesus Christ, talk about a race not wanting to save us. Hi, welcome to Earth. Here's a nuke.
Have you heard those stories? Yeah. Have you heard those stories that the moon's not real?
We just talked about that last show.
I just
Yeah.
So
what do you
I'm
think
just
it is,
waiting
Dana?
to happen. What do I think? What is the moon?
The moon. Yeah, the moon.
I think it's the moon. I think it's the moon. It's always been the moon, except I understand in some far ago legends that there was a time when there was no moon.
Well, that's what I've heard. I've heard about it, is that scientists don't know where it came from, and that there's no reason for it to like be there, and that they hear like rumblings and stuff like that from like the interior of the Earth that sound more man-made than I use man-made obviously as just a general term, but that sound more not natural to what they should be hearing from it. So I mean, you just think that it's a planet,
could be a man-made satellite, or an
alien satellite,
a something made artificial, like made satellite. Yeah, I've heard that like when they land, were forces there telling them not to come back. Which reminds me, as I segue into another random thought, I went to the dermatologist because I'm old and I've got these old spots on me that I've had to have checked out. And she was looking at me all over and she said to me, "What is this blue dot?" and you know the story of the blue dot.
Right.
Yes, we do.
And I said, I didn't feel like going into anything. So I just said, I don't know. I've had it there a long time. And I've seen others with it. And I thought, well, you're the dermatologist. If you've seen it. What is it? Why are you asking me what it is? Yeah, she said, yeah. Asked me what it was. I said, I didn't know. And she said, I've seen others with it.
Huh.
So I feel very kind of validated. Yes, there is something there. Yes, it was noticeable to the dermatologist.
But what is it?
But she had seen it before. My theory is it's just kind of it's like a marker. I mean, I don't know back in 1960 or whenever how sophisticated things were. So I don't think it's a tracking device. I just think some kind of mark of the beast. I don't know. What do you think it is? I've tried to take pictures of it, but it doesn't photograph very well. It just looks like a little blue dot. But the thing is that you can feel it. You press on, there's something below the surface.
I'm still kind of surprised by the fact that nobody's wanted to remove it, especially if you can feel it. Because it's not a common thing to have like a blue mark on your body. Like that's not normal. I don't have a blue mark that I'm aware of.
The only conclusion I can come to is that I was programmed not to have it removed.
Right.
Because why haven't I have it removed? I'm like afraid to. I'm subconsciously afraid, or I'm internally afraid. It's like, I don't want to do that.
Maybe it can't be removed. I mean, maybe they would attempt to remove it, and maybe if it's advanced alien technology, and I know that sounds like a huge stretch, But if it is, maybe it has like molded to your body. You know what I mean? It has grown with you. And so therefore it's tied to your body. And if they tried to remove it, they wouldn't be able to remove it because it's now part of you.
That makes sense, because when I got it, I was like 9 or so, somewhere around there, 8, 9,
Right.
I think 9. And it has grown with my body. It's no bigger than it was, or no smaller. It's just, I mean, it looks like the same size as it did when I was 9.
So it's keeping
So
pace
it
with
had
you.
to have grown with me.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I want that thing removed, Dana. I want to know what it is.
Uh,
I don't know. It's like it's kind of like this. Here's a story. You want a story of witchcraft and magic?
yep.
Yes.
I had a very powerful friend, and I was working in an office, and my boss was sexually harassing me. Now, I worked in a very male environment. It was a physical plant, and I wanted to leave my job, and I couldn't find another job. So, and put a spell on this guy, and that he could not come around me. And he literally not come around me. He would go to step into my office or my cube and could not. And she told me, she said, would you hurry up and get another job? This is hard to maintain. This is hard. You know, subconsciously, he knows something's going on. He's fighting against it. He's going to get mad, which he did. He started getting mad at me for things. But he could not step into my space. And then I got another job and left. But that's kind of how I feel. You probably wonder what the connection is. That's what I feel about my blue mark. It's like, I can't touch it.
I get it. It's some, you know, we may never know what it is, but obviously it's something very unique to you.
Well, actually, it's not. Other people have it.
Well, I've never met one.
Yeah,
So-
but even her dermatologist
Said
has seen
she'd seen
people
it.
with it.
But then couldn't give an explanation as to what the hell it was, though.
And I told you I had been in chat rooms of, you know, this kind of stuff, and people said they had blue dots on them that they got from somebody stabbing them with a pencil. I mean, the whole scenario of being stabbed with a pencil and the point broke off. And that's how they got theirs too. It's just
Yeah,
no,
I don't believe that.
no.
That's a planted memory.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember, like I said, when I originally is like when I told there was no blood, there was no pain. And I showed it to my mother and I told her what happened and she didn't react. She's like, oh, my mother would always react. But she was like, oh, okay. So, yeah.
Has there been any new developments in figuring out exactly what your mother did for a living for the government?
Let me think. Since the last time I talked to you, there isn't anything concrete. There were just some things that were going on at the time. Like there was like this secret group of women in Washington for decoding, like cryptologists or whatever. That was very top secret. And I just found out, you know, that there were other things going on that that women were involved with that was a secret to the outside world at the time. And now it's so far in the past, nobody cares. I told you that of her. I told you about that. Tell you what.
Well, tell us what it was that was such a secret back then, but now nobody cares.
That there was, now I know that she was a part of this group. I just heard about this group of women who were decoding, what do you decode? Codes.
Code breakers.
I'm old. I can't think of the word. Yeah. Code breakers.
Right.
But for some reason, it was very undercover. Now, it was during the time that my mother was there. It was at the place that my mother, that Washington, D.C., where my mother was. If you asked them what they were, they'd say they were secretary, which was what my mother always said.
Your mom was
I'm
not
a secretary.
a secretary.
Now, get out of the way
Your
so
mom-
I can. I know.
Your mom, when you walk into a room and your mom's at the middle desk and there's 5-star or 4-star generals sitting around her and she's the main seat in the room, she is not the damn secretary. The secretary would be way in the corner over there somewhere in the dark.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do remember.
Yeah, I should be
the last time you were,
hypnotized to see what other things I can bring up.
We
What's
should
that?
do that live on the show.
Have Chris
If you're
Lumen.
if you're going to do regression therapy, we know somebody that might be able to help you. And then if we can put it together, we should have that done. Well, we probably shouldn't do it live on the show because obviously some personal things can come out, but we should record it and then edit it to your approval, and then as long
That
as you're
sounds like
comfortable with
fun.
yeah, if you're comfortable with how it looks, then something we could have it as a special for the show.
That sounds like fun. Sign me up.
Okay.
All right.
We'll get a hold
All
of
right,
Kristen.
You heard it here, folks. You may have a live regression therapy session with Dana Mitchell coming up. So, all right, I'll work on that. So, what else got for us?
Well, like I said, I was just telling you about my disappointments done, what went on out there. And, the Southwest is very different here on the East Coast. I mean, it's probably from where you all are too. The terrain and the architecture and everything. It was very different.
Very much so.
A lot of green grass. And I was thinking, I've been trying to think of other things. No, I was trying to think more of what makes Maryland dear to me besides us having Edgar Allan Poe's body. But
Crabs.
It's just a thing. Crabs.
Baltimore's notorious known for their blue crab.
Oh, not just Baltimore, the
Maryland.
whole Eastern Shore.
Yeah, but Maryland is kind of like, what's your state's theme again? Like, come here and get crabs or something like that.
I don't know. I hear different things like America in miniature, but I don't know whoever calls it America in miniature. I've never called it that.
I think come here and get crabs is
the
much better
land
slogan.
of pleasant living. Well,
Land of
slogan
pleasant
of
living.
it was that used to be a slogan.
Land of pleasant living. Woo!
There was one where I used to live had like a really stoop like we're trying was the slogan of the town I lived in.
We're not quite there yet, but we're trying.
Yeah. We're sucking it hard coming in last, but damn it, we're trying. Hang with us for another century and see where we're at.
So I think it was David that I recommended Vivarium. Did you ever see Vivarium? We talked about that movie, Weird Movies, or was it Mike?
I think it was both of us, but I think it was Dave that was interested in it.
Yeah, I did not see it.
Yeah.
That's not the one
Well,
where they
go
climb.
see it.
Is that the one where they're underground? where they're climbing around underground, and then all that weird shit. The deeper they go down in the system, in the cave or whatever, they keep seeing that pale guy, you know, and then they see the
that
people
was as
marching by.
above, as below. So
Yeah,
above,
that
so
movie
below.
was weird as hell. And I don't want to give the
I
ending
like
away for
weird as
anybody who
hell
wants to
movies.
watch it. But that ending, I was like, what the hell was that? It was strange.
Now that's what I like in an ending.
I know you
I
liked
li-
it.
I like
I
weird
enjoyed
movies.
it, but it was weird.
Well, you should watch Bavarian.
Okay, I'm writing it down again.
And I stay up late at night trying to find, hard finding a good horror movie.
It is
They're
nowadays.
so predictable, and they're all like demon in the attic, demon in the cellar, demon in the house. It's always like 4 college friends go on a camping trip
With their camcorder.
Yeah, it's finding something. Yeah.
You know who makes really good horror
And
now?
wait,
South Korea.
who?
South Korea.
Oh yeah.
Like there are some phenomenal mind horror type of movies coming from like South Korea, even into some I think even into some Japanese, but it's mostly from South Korea. Like some of the better movies that I've seen lately are the South Korean directors. Okay, find this so strange.
Well, I'll have to look that up.
You know
Did
what?
you Did you like? What's the one that everybody watched? Squid Game. Was that it?
Yeah,
Did
Squid
you like
Game.
that? Yeah.
It was okay.
Never even heard of it.
It wasn't as good as whatever. I wouldn't give it a 10. Not like people are raving like it's the best thing since sliced cheese. I'm like, no, it's not that good. It's okay. But the concept of it was kind of cool. Like the overall concept. But strange
Mike,
at the same
did you
time.
say you never heard of it?
He's never even heard of it.
I never heard of it.
Well,
I don't get out much.
It was the talk of the town for a while.
Yeah, it was.
I don't talk to people in the town.
He goes to work, comes home, and then he closes the door, and he goes in his room, closes the door, and that's it.
It was my day.
That's his day. No social interaction. You know what? I did watch the trailer for Vivarium, but I did not see it yet. But I know exactly what the movie is that you're talking about. With the couple with the baby that live in the identical neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will watch it. I'm sure it's on one of the platforms I have.
So I'm trying to think of any other good movies, good shows. Nothing.
Well, if you're looking for a great holiday horror movie featuring 5 people who get who pretty much almost all get killed.
Go on a camping trip.
No.
No. They're headed home from college for Thanksgiving break, and they get attacked and then followed by a murderous talking turkey. So you can see Thanksgiving.
That's a real movie?
Just run away, Dana. Don't even
That is a
write
real
down.
movie. It's an amazing movie.
It's a B classic. I'll give it that.
It is
amazing. That reminds me of Baltimore fame is John Waters, who didn't make horror movies, but made some pretty damn weird movies.
Who did?
John Waters.
Baltimore.
You're looking at me like, who? John Waters is from Baltimore, and everything he did took place in Baltimore.
I never heard of that guy. I just need to shut up.
You heard a hairspray.
I don't know anything you guys are bringing up. Boy, I just need to title this episode "Mike's Lost."
this is Mike's coming out. He's going to actually have to like watch some stuff and explore a little bit and talk to his neighbors and be social.
Well, he did. Let's see. What was the one? Cry Baby with Johnny Depp. Segue into Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's in court right here, outside Washington, D.C., you know?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, why? Why are they here?
Do they not live there? I don't know.
No, I would say he lives in California, I think. I would bet he lives in California. I don't know.
Yeah, why is it held at the Fairfax Circuit Court or whatever?
Yeah, I would think it'd be near LA.
Which is DC.
I don't
Maybe
have an
this was
answer to
the
that.
only place he could come. Well, maybe it was the only place he could come that there wasn't be a lot of paparazzi or something. I don't know.
Or, you know, don't they take a look too, like where you don't want to be in a place where there's already like the judgment's already been kind of passed, like as far as your character's concerned in a case like this. So if maybe there wasn't a judge around LA that was biased enough to hear both sides without going in there predetermined, you know, of like whether he heard something about John. What, I don't know. I'm reaching, but
are you following that case, Dana? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not either.
I'm not. You can't help but not around here. It's like, you know, they run the little ticker tape across the bottom of the TV screen because it's local news as well as. So it's like, no, I'm not following it, but they're force feeding it to me.
Well, who's right in this case then?
I tell you on Team Johnny.
I don't know. Really, all I know is obviously the whole like she shit in his bed.
Yeah. Or somebody did after she told him to do it. Yeah.
And that's all I really know about that case. So I guess I'm going to be on Team Johnny as well.
Well, it's pretty convoluted and a great publicity stunt. So.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Dana, what are you up to nowadays? I mean, are you doing any more like historical research? Are you doing any tours?
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. It's weird. I'm looking for the next thing. It hasn't come yet. So I'm just sitting, you know, I wait on my couch, waiting for the next thing to come or information to come or whatever. Sometimes I wonder if my muse is on vacation because, like I said, nothing's happening. I go out to the hot spot of the Southwest, don't even see a javelina or whatever.
I don't even know what that. I don't even know what that is either.
It's a wild pygmy pig.
Oh,
they're little.
Okay.
They're little small. They're not like butcher hogs. They're pecorinos too.
They're not. They're not pork. They're not. They're called peccaries. They're not pigs, and they're not rodents. They're a pig rodent. They're a peccary, but they look like hairy pigs.
They look like hairy
pigs. Are they
pigs.
Delicious?
And they're wild. Evidently not.
Oh,
I've heard.
They're gamey.
Not really.
Yeah.
They're gamey.
Yeah.
Well, you get that gamey
They say
taste
the
like
Native Americans
mutton.
never ate them. The Native Americans didn't like eating them.
It's like eating armadillo.
But one interesting thing is that our tour guide told us anyway that they don't have any, because there's not much to eat out there. They're herbivores, and they don't have any nerve endings in their mouth, so they can eat cactus and stuff. Which I wish I was like that. If I had no nerve ending, I could eat anything. But I have yet to see one. Did you, Mike, when you were out there, did you ever see one? I think
No, I
they're
didn't
like
even know they
snipe
existed.
hunts or wild haggis.
But
Well, yeah, I don't even know if they exist. It's just a big joke that Arizona's laying on the rest of the country, tourists.
I could see that.
No, I'm sure
but,
they exist.
The only reason that I've ever gone out there really is to see my father, who lives in the suburbs of Phoenix in like gated communities along golf courses. So I'm pretty sure wild pig things are not common there.
Have you ever seen a roadrunner?
I saw.
Who are you asking?
Either one of you. Have you guys ever seen an actual roadrunner?
I don't think so, but I might have.
I saw a roadrunner.
No. They're rare
And
to
it
see
was being
too.
chased by a coyote.
That's not what I'm talking about, Dana. I'm talking about real roadrunners.
And then an anvil fell down on the coyote. No, I saw a roadrunner out there.
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Doesn't look
Was it
anything like a roadrunner on TV.
No.
Who knew Looney Tunes could get things so wrong?
They're fast though. I saw one. I saw one that was moving. It was moving.
The Tasmanian devil doesn't look anything like the Tasmanian devil either.
No, he doesn't.
Real Tasmanian devil looks like a bear or something.
Yeah. But how cool would it be if they really looked like the Tasmanian devil from Looney Tunes?
I know.
Yeah.
Not only that, but when they moved, they like went in a tornado. And like
that would be cool.
Man, I think we need to do.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said you had something to report.
When we meet again.
Oh,
no, that's the thing. I don't. I've been looking for
don't?
something to report, and I come up with like downloads from.
Well, I would like to know. I would like to bring it around full circle because I would like to know what you learned from that book that you showed us.
Well, the book actually is very complicated in some of the things that it says. It's all about the things that it's doing to your body while you're going through this dimensional shift. I mean, again, look at. But there is paragraphs. Let's see.
Dana, do you think that when you were reading it, did you feel like you went through a shift spiritually or emotionally?
Actually, I did feel things, and I did, but I don't see any reason for feeling those things. I'm just back to my regular self. But yes, I did feel things going on. Like this is what one of them would have been. The kidneys hold pyramidal power since their tissues are conical. The kidney mass has 18 pyramidal divisions. The extensive pedestal of each touches the kidney cortex and its apex points towards the interior. They are constitute parallel segments of renal tubes that are used by the light beings to introduce radiance to the lymphocytes and leukocytes and surround the area. And the enzyme renin and the glycoprotein hormone, which raises fire when the erythrocytes are produced to benefit from these light circulations and increases vitamin D. So, I mean, that's so as for actually learning anything intellectually, no.
You lost me
feeling
at
anything
the kidney.
Oh, yeah. And that paragraph was somewhat understandable. So
Was it?
Can you believe
I didn't.
I understood part of it.
I understood the kidney and enzymes. That was it. The rest was like my brain exploded. So, okay.
So you're saying this is not on your reading
Well, how
list,
about
Michael?
the hypothalamus and the 10th vortex of nectar of immortality, the astracanam, shit, adrampatastium.
Are you summoning a spirit right now? What is going on?
She's conjuring.
If I'm conjuring,
Dana,
it would be an angel.
Right.
Yeah, let's hope. All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for this installment of Random Shit with Dana Mitchell.
Well, thank you for having me again. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we'll have, next week is Memorial Day, so which Dave doesn't like to work. So if we have a show, I'm going to see if Lauren or maybe my team wants to come on and join me for an episode. But otherwise, we'll be back in 2 weeks with Sina Dykesman. So that's going to be another great episode. But Dana, thank you again for coming on. Always a pleasure. And until next time, everybody, stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see